This movie almost started a war between the United States and North Korea. And for those of you who don't know much about North Korea, let's take a second. Let's set the stage for what exactly we're dealing with here. This is a country with 26.5 million people located in East Asia. It's known to most of the world not because of what it offers, what the resources it gives, but because of one person. Oh, and did I mention, I might have left this out, it's a small detail really, but the same guy that I just described, well, he has an access to a nuclear arsenal. You see, there was a little film named The Interview. It was created by Seth Rogan, who was himself starred in the film, as well as James Franco and Randall Park. And it might be at this point in the video where you're asking yourselves, how could a comedy written by somebody like Seth Rogan possibly get, number one, the attention, but also the sheer anger and frustration of one of the world's most powerful dictatorships? Well, you see, the plot of the movie was kind of to kill him. The plot of the film centers around the host of Skylark Tonight, played by James Franco, and his producer, played by Seth Rogan. The two make a very successful late-night talk show in which they interview many guests. They are then made aware that Kim Jong-un is a massive fan of their show and would like to conduct an interview on home soil in North Korea. The two media members are then contracted by the CIA to quote-unquote take out the dictator. And it appears in real life that Kim Jong-un is not much for satire or self-deprecating humor. And this is very evident as his form of retaliation was to harness the power that he holds as the leader of North Korea to then hack the entire company of Sony. And this is the moment where things get quite interesting. On November 24th, 2014, the hacker group known as Guardians of Peace leaked confidential data from Sony's film studio. The data included employee emails, personal and family information, executive salaries, copies of then unreleased films, future film plans, screenplays, and an entire litany of other information that the company probably wanted to keep somewhat private. But don't you worry, that is not all. The hackers then employed a variant of the Shamoon Wiper malware, which I'm not even going to pretend to know the slightest bit about what that is or what that entails, but the effect of it was erasing Sony's entire computer infrastructure. Then, as the story keeps growing and keeps unfolding, the hacker group sent a notice to Sony Studios, which they mentioned the interview, the film, by name. They threatened to take terrorist action at the New York City premiere of the movie, in which they referenced a great American tragedy, which was 9/11.
The Sony hack attack and the threat of violence to movie theaters. The studio.
Sony announced it was scrapping the interview in a statement this afternoon, quote, "We are deeply saddened at this brazen effort to suppress the distribution of a movie."
And this is when the unthinkable happens. A sitting president of the United States gets up to the podium and during his end-of-the-year speech addresses the release of a comedy movie.
We cannot have a society in which some dictator someplace can start imposing censorship here in the United States.
He then later in the same speech said, "We will respond proportionally, and we will respond in a place, and a time, and a manner we choose." Sorry, it's really hard to not do an Obama impersonation when you're talking like him. I mean, the sentence structure it lends itself so well. You can hear it as you're reading it. So it was then after this where the CEO of Sony pops his head back out and goes, "Hey guys, hey, everybody calm down, okay? I know we said we were pulling the movie, but guys, come on. This has been a major misunderstanding. We were never gonna really pull the movie and bend to North Korea. Obviously not. What's that? What? Am I saying this because the president said that I shouldn't do that? No. No, remember, this was a misunderstanding. I was never gonna do that. In fact, we're gonna put it out in theaters. Okay, guys?" So after that, they did release the movie, and that is a strong pair of quotes which I will get to later in this video, but not without some changes. They made some pretty specific tweaks to this film, of which I will let Seth Rogan himself tell you.
This shot became the thing that was like unacceptable. Like of all the things in the movie, like if there was going to be war with North Korea based on something in the movie, it was going to be because of this shot. The studios have their own visual effects people, and they start changing the shot themselves, doing different versions of the shot, showing us versions of the shot. Yeah, and it literally becomes like a frame by frame discussion. How many embers can hit his face? How long can it be on screen for?
And now is the point in the video where you're probably asking yourself, this movie must have been a banger. Like, to go through all this stress and strife and pain and threats from another country, this must be like the second coming of Titanic. Like, this must be an instant classic in which we'll never forget about this movie. Well, no, it's not that. Of course it's not that. But what I will say is this is a fairly funny comedy that I do find myself rewatching to this day. Is it worth all of this stuff that was going on? No. Did I like the movie? Do I watch it on Netflix when I see it? Yeah. So wrapping all this up into a little tight bow, in the end, nothing really resulted from this in terms of war other than the US imposing additional sanctions on North Korea. The movie went on to gross $12.3 million in spite of Sony not fully releasing the movie. And I said I'd get to that earlier in this video, and now's the time we're going to address that.
After Obama gave that speech, they allowed theaters who wanted to show it, and they sold it to Google Play to stream it.
But it's not all doom and gloom, because by the end of its run and then its digital sales, the film was able to gross $43.3 million, which was enough to cover its budget, but just barely, so the film was ultimately deemed a failure. And you know, it's kind of a miracle. But on the positive side, it does now have a second life on streaming services such as Netflix. So if you are interested in watching the actual movie and not the story behind it, I would recommend you checking it out. It does seem, from what I can tell, that it's doing just fine on Netflix. And yeah, guys, that is the story about how this simple, funny, I might add, comedy movie almost started a war between the United States and North Korea. If you guys like this video, you already know what to do. Drop a like, I would greatly appreciate it. If you have any thoughts of this miraculous and insane story regarding this movie, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this on my channel, if you want to see my movie reviews, my trailer reactions, you know, generally more things positive and current in the movie industry, then go ahead and drop a sub. I would greatly appreciate that as well. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.